This is Andrew for CollectionDX, and I'm going to be looking at the new Transformers Combiner Wars figures, starting off with the newest member of the Aerial Bots, Alpha Bravo, or as most of us know him, Vortex colored like Slingshot. Not that I'd hold that against him. He's actually a very nice looking figure on his own, and that combination has given him a lot of personality that you wouldn't expect from basically a filler repaint guy. So, looking at the figure himself, he is about 6 inches tall from his toes to the top of these tail fin on the back here. And despite the fact that he's meant to just be somebody else's limb, he is a very solid action figure on his own. He's got like ball jointed shoulders, which are nice and tight. He has bicep swivels that can go all the way around. His elbows actually have soft ratcheting, so they will stay in place. He has a waist joint that actually clicks in place for robot mode, but you just kind of untab it from that the little nub in his crotch to make it go around. Crotch nub, that's kind of funny. And he does have ball jointed hips and they can pop off. Just kind of push that back on, but other than that, you know, he's standard deluxe Transformer action figure, and he's actually just really cool and a fun solid toy on his own. You know, he can just do lots of cool poses by himself. His feet have they don't really have like ankle joints, but they're nice and flat, so he can do a lot of cool stances. Also, his head, it's on a ball joint, and he can even look up because, you know, he's a guy who can fly. And also it rotates left and right as well. Now, you can kind of see this, but the only thing I don't like about this guy is his rotor on the back here. It doesn't really like lock in place anywhere, but if you just like push it up against his tail fins, it mostly stays out of the way. And also you can kind of angle it up a little more on this little assembly back here so that it'll stay happily out of the way. Now for weapons, Alpha Bravo comes with this cool machine gun thing here, which actually has bullets molded on the side because it's a nice belt-fed weapon, and it just goes right into his hand and he can totally wield it like he's some kind of Space Nam operative. Also, one thing I think is cool is that because of his head being able to look up, you can actually put him in kind of like cool crawling poses, like he's looking to sit up the kill box or something like that. And his other weapon is the foot-hand weapon thingy that all the Combiner Wars limb guys come with. And what this is, it's basically a big block thing. It's got a couple of Gatling guns on the front, which really adds to the idea that he's like some kind of cool close air support dude. And you just peg it into his hand and it looks pretty cool. And I do like the fact that this is both part of his Combiner mode form and actually does things other than just be like a hand or a foot. It's a nice all-in-one unit, and it looks decent as like a big old weapon thing. I have to admit I'm more into this like cool machine gun. It just like looks good in his hands and just gives a lot of personality. It's a mean looking gun. Alright, so we're going to take a look at his Combiner mode forms and then check him out in vehicle mode. Alright, so converting Alpha Bravo into a limb is pretty straightforward, although I am going to be deviating a little bit from what they show in the instructions. First off, you just flip his Combiner port out, and this thing has a very, very nice ratchet joint, and it also spins around. So that's both the knee joint and also the shoulder joint for the Combiner. I don't actually have any of the torsos as of this review, but I will be getting one soon, so we can take a look at that in a later video. So with his legs, you just click him together at the bottom here. You take the hand-foot thingy, flip out the thumb in the back, and there's a little tab in the front. You just flick up the fingers, and a cool thing is that this can either be like both a left hand and a right hand, thanks to the way the thumb moves. And you just plug this in the bottom here. Now, with the instructions, they actually just want you to peg his arms right into the side like that. I found the best way to do it to give him the most elbow articulation as an arm. Just put his arms up like this and bend his elbows like that. Because his shoulders are so tight, you can't just kind of leave all this stuff up in place. And also when you get this all in position. You can just tilt this up a little bit, and the arm should help keep the rotors in place. And so here he is. He is an arm. And actually, you do it this way, because now he's got all this articulation as an arm. And yeah, he looks pretty cool as an arm. I have to admit, again, I don't actually have a torso to put him on, but I can't stop transforming him into arm mode because it just looks cool. And the hand, you know, it has like, the front fingers can open and close a little bit. It actually does have more of a joint right here as well. And despite the fact that this thing is pretty, you know, simple and straightforward, I think it does look pretty menacing when it's like opening and like trying to grab at things. And you can also like pull it back and kind of get a nice looking fist out of it. And also he has, you know, Gatling guns on his knuckles, which is fine. Now for all the big guns, they actually just have a hole right in the combiner limb part. So if you just want to give him a gun right there, it's like that. That's for holding like Superion's main gun or any other gun with a compatible peg. So yeah. And he does use like the very common, use the guy's own thighs and knee joints as the bigger robot's elbow joints, and it works fine, you know. Looks good. It's very solid, and yeah, it's kind of furthering ideas that G1 Predaking pioneered many years ago. Alright, so that's him as an arm. Let's take a look at him as a leg. Alright, conversion to leg mode is basically halfway into helicopter mode, so we can do that as well. All you want to do is rotate his waist so that it's back like this. Also, you want to bring this up out of the way. Now with his legs, you would think this would just like slide inward, but actually you open up the lower legs like this, and there's a whole little mechanism inside here so that this whole assembly comes up, and actually it's going to tab right into these slots right here. And I think this is actually really a good way of doing it, because it means his legs aren't going to expand and collapse on their own if it was sort of a regular sliding joint. So you just kind of bring all that together like this, and then lock in this part like that. And it's pretty similar to arm mode. You just kind of leave his tail, or his rotors up there, and you can just peg his arms into the side right here, and then pop this thing up. So, and then you just take the combiner hand foot and just arrange it more like a foot. So here he is. He's a foot. It's a mighty foot. It's going to have ratcheted knee joint and a knee swivel, in addition to whatever the main combiner has himself. So pretty good there. Now let's take a look at him as a helicopter. Alright, so as I said, it's pretty easy to go just straight on to helicopter mode. All you want to do is flip his head back out like in robot mode, turn his noggin around, pull these out, and then this thing untabs from this area, and there's some slots, and it's just going to come right back down like that. And if you want, you could like flip that up a little bit so his head's a little more recessed, but it's fine like that. Flip up his tail fin, take this part off, and then you take the front part of the helicopter, just bring it back together, and then tab it all together like that. And here we go. This is, we'll get to these later. So this is Alpha Bravo in helicopter mode. He's a very sleek, like, civilian helicopter, kind of a transport, but with these giant missiles on the side, which do a pretty good job at hiding his arms there. And let's be honest, you're going to argue with a guy who has missiles in his arms. But I like the fact that it's like this sleek, you know, regular helicopter with missiles, because it gives it a very Airwolf vibe. And as we know, Airwolf is awesome. And, you know, it's a helicopter. The rotor spins pretty well. Just don't flick it at the end, because that part moves. And a cool thing is that you can put both of his machine gun into these ports up here, and you can stick his combiner hand foot thingy on the bottom. And you know, depending if you want to keep the thumb down or keep it out, it's up to you. But basically now he's like this super armed helicopter that has Gatling guns and machine guns and looks really cool, like he's supposed to be doing like close air support. But yeah, he's really cool. I actually, because I have the Unite Warriors Superion on order, I actually wanted to get this by himself because that doesn't come with the Japanese release. And I'm really excited about this line. When I saw the review, there were all the reveals at Toy Fair and all that stuff. So, and this guy inspires a lot of confidence because he's just a very solid Transformers action figure by himself, even if you don't combine him with anybody. And he just feels good. He's like good quality. He feels like a real plaything. Like if you hurl this at somebody, it would hurt. And yeah, I'm really excited about this whole line going forward. And even though the fact that this guy is going to get repainted, and we already saw that he's getting a repaint and slight remold as Blades, the Protectobot, and he's probably also going to be Vortex because, you know, come on, they look so much alike. I'm still pretty excited to like own this thing multiple times over because it's such a good figure by itself that I would totally be into having like 3 kick-ass Transformers helicopters. So yeah, that's my take on Alpha Bravo. Yeah, really good toy. And be sure to check out my full text review when that goes up at a later date. Thanks again. This has been Andrew of CollectionDX.com, signing off.